So today we're going to be talking about cleaning your mass airflow meter. Now this is a BMW E46 and the mass airflow meter is right here. So basically what we're going to do is take this off, unbolt this, and then remove it from here. So the reason why I'm doing this was because I got a check engine soon light coming on the car. And when I pulled it up, it came with a mass airflow meter, the engine coolant temperature sensor, fuel trim, which is understandable. If you're not metering the right amount of air, then your fuel trim is going to be off for both the first and second bank, and then the tank vent system. So we're going to go ahead and change the airflow meter, or not change it, but clean it out using some CRC mass airflow sensor cleaner, and we'll go ahead and walk you through the steps on doing that. Excuse the mess. I bought the car recently, went to the shop. They were trying to test for a coolant leak. BMW couldn't find it. The other place I bought the car from was able to find it, took it back to BMW. Big hassle. But anyways, so I'm not going to take the car back in because at this point, last time they had it was 2 weeks. Wasn't really too happy about that. And even though I just bought the car, have had it maybe for about 2 weeks, I'm just going to start taking care of it myself, just because it's too much of an issue to try and deal with them and the car and diagnosing things properly. So more on that later. So the first thing we're going to do is I've already loosened the hose clamp. Now there are two clips, one here, which I'll pop off, and there's one right here. So at that point we can go ahead and remove the clip for the sensor. We can go ahead and take this off and then remove the airflow meter. Now I took this out earlier, and what I ended up doing was I blew out with compressed air, and there was a fly stuck in there and some other stuff. But basically what we're going to go ahead and do now is go get a pair of gloves on and a rag, and we're going to go ahead and start cleaning this thing out. Alright, so before we start spraying, I just kind of want to show you the condition of the mass airflow meter. If you look at it, I believe those should be copper, or not copperish looking, but more metallic. So there's quite a bit of extra stuff on there. So I'm going to go ahead and blow this out, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys what this looks like afterwards. We have the mass airflow meter and our can of CRC mass airflow cleaner, sensor cleaner. So what we're going to do is just give it short bursts, just to clean the heating plate and the screen down below. I'm using a rag just to catch the extra fluid that comes out. You just kind of want to do that once or twice, maybe once on one side, once on the other. Alright, so we're going to let that dry now, and it'll take about probably 4 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and put it back into the car. So it's been about 2 weeks since I've cleaned the mass airflow meter. The light went out for about 2 days, and then the fuel trim light came back on. So that was a whole nother issue that I had to deal with. Initially I thought, hey, the mass flare sensor's clean, we should be good now. So what I didn't know was this car had the original fuel filter in it from when it was first sold. Now this car's got about 110,000 miles on it. You should change your fuel filter, especially with this one. It's got a pressure regulator built into the fuel filter. You want to change that about 60 to 70,000 miles. That's the suggested thing, and it's got 110, and light just went out. Awesome. So anyways, basically, the second part of this video is going to be me replacing the filter. Just kind of an update on that, though. I've already done that video, and the light's been off for about 4 days now, almost a week, and that seemed to fix the problem. So if you guys have problems with your mass airflow sensor and a fuel trim issue, that's possibly the two fixes that you can do, and those are the most simple things you can do. So without further ado, here's the changing of the fuel filter. So to continue the mass airflow meter check engine light debacle that I've been getting, after I reset the computer, the check engine light came on 2 days later, and this time it was fuel trim. So I'm going to start with the most cheapest fix, which is fuel filter. And you can see here, this is the original one, came out of the car. The car's got about 110,000 miles on it, and these should be changed at about 60 to 70,000, and it wasn't done. No surprise there. So that's the original one with all the part numbers and everything else, and here's the new one that's going in. This filter costs about $98 or so. So it's got a built-in pressure regulator at the top, and as far as installation of these, it's pretty simple. There's a panel up underneath the car, and I'll go ahead and show you that as I've already removed the filters and whatnot. So, all right, so here we are under the car. There's where the fuel filter is, and with the new rubber lines, the old ones are starting to get deteriorated. There's a lot of black junk inside the filter, a lot of sedimentary type of stuff. But anyways, so that's where the position is. It's underneath the driver's side, right next to the transmission, which is right there. So for those of you who've seen the transmission change on the E36 that I have, it's in the same position as that filter as well. So we'll go ahead and start the car up here in a little bit and double check everything, make sure everything's tight and the car's all set, and then we'll go ahead and reset the check engine light again and see if it goes out. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about changing O2 sensors on an E46. This model here is a 2004, and it's got about 105,000 miles. Now, according to the manual, or the maintenance book, BMW suggests changing the oxygen sensors at about 110,000 miles. Now, I've got an existing condition where it's telling me that I have fuel trim issues. I've already changed the filter, I've changed the spark plugs. This is the next step that I'm trying to figure out on trying to get this whole thing figured out with the check engine light and the mapping of fuel. So I'm going to go ahead and replace these. This is the next step. If this doesn't unset the check engine light, then I'm going to have to hook up the computer to it and then start doing fuel readings, see exactly where where the mapping's at and everything else. So, but anyways, without further ado, I've already changed the first one, and as you can see, the first one is right there. It's right next to the air pump. Now I removed the air pump. There's a bracket that goes there. This is I'm assuming this is a filter. I have to look it up, I'm not quite sure. And this is an airflow meter to tell how much air is coming into this thing, so it can kind of regulate at a more even, steady pace, rather than just gulping in a whole bunch of air and then trying to figure it out in the last part of it. But anyways, there's the other O2 sensor. Now, if you notice, they are two different color wires. That one's gray, and the front one is black. Yes, these are two different O2 sensors. Quite different than the E46. The E40 or 36, I'm sorry. The E36 has got all four oxygen sensors that are the same. This car has wideband oxygen sensors, so it's, instead of having the regular 3 or 4 connection pin, it's actually got a 6 connection pin. Let's see if we can focus in there. There we go. It's got 6 connections in it. So there's a lot more data being passed with these. As I said, this is the back one. This is the old front one. And the numbers are different. And let me show you quite quickly here. So if you look at that, the number is, the last three numbers is 216. That's on the new rear unit, and this is the front unit. This will be 215. So indeed, they are different O2 sensors. If you are replacing them, make sure you get the correct and proper ones. And my camera doesn't want to focus. There we go. Okay. So anyways, to remove these, obviously you can take off the valve cover gasket, or not the valve cover gasket, the valve cover that goes over the top of the actual valve cover. So your beauty plate, or whatever you want to call it. You take that off. You take off the other one that goes over this side here. You can optionally take out the air filter, and then the air filter box, which is I think 3 or 4 Torx nuts underneath there, and you can remove it. I basically just slipped a 10mm wrench down there, or socket, and undid the nut from there, and then pulled the cover off. So once you get all this exposed, the wiring has clips on the side, as you can see here. There's a clip there. There's a clip further back inside there. don't know if you can see that or not. And there's one clip on the back of the head. So you kind of have to figure out where you need to go with those. Now, as far as where the position of where they hook up, the back one here goes to the front O2 sensor, and the front one in towards the front of the motor goes to the back O2 sensor. And you have to make sure that you get this correct, or else your engine's not going to run right, because, as I said, they are two different parts. So to get them out, obviously you need to use a O2 sensor tool. There's enough room in between there to get to them, so you don't have to completely take this out and then take that out. So anyways, so that's pretty much a breakdown of how you do the O2 sensors on a E46 BMW. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down the section down below. Hopefully this video has helped you out some. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, do your thing. So that pretty much wraps it up for the check engine light situation with the E46 here. So essentially what happened was, hey there, white Volvo. Essentially what happened was the check engine light came on initially for the master airflow sensor. And so I cleaned that out using the CRC. Got that fixed and situated. And then the fuel trim light, which was another issue that came up with the master airflow meter, also kept coming back on. So basic mechanics say, okay, you got a fuel trim issue. It means you're not metering enough air properly, or you're not getting enough fuel properly, or there's some sort of sensor that's not reading the exhaust gas properly. So I systematically went through and did the maintenance things that should be done on a car, such as change the fuel filter, clean the master airflow sensor, and then this car actually has about 106,000 miles on it now. And BMW does suggest changing the O2 sensors at about 110,000. So, but considering I was getting a fuel trim issue, I was banking on the idea that the O2 sensors would be bad and that they have to be replaced. So I did that. The check engine light's been off for about a week and a half now, so I'm pretty much taking it as a resolved issue. So if you guys have any questions or any comments, leave them in the box down below. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, guys, do your things. Thanks for watching.